Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast.
Hey, I can look at myself naked.
Are you stoned or something?
They tried stoning me, my dear. It did not work.
He likes to create his own sauce.
Well, did you sleep with a man who also slept with Mom and Grandma Catherine?
What? You slept with Dad?
All right. Now, which one of you sardines call this meat?
Whatever, Major Loser.
Let the party begin!
It's me, shit. Every time.
Every time. I love it. It's just silence, and then you'll realize it's great. We have a formula, we stick to it, and it's amazing. It will never stop being funny.
Hello, and welcome to Fresh Tomatoes, the movie podcast. The movie that you thought you'd miss out on because of the pandemic. But you know what? Just release it on demand, because you deserve it. That's Chad Ekowitz.
And that's Simone LaRue. That's pretty apt for this year, man. I mean, wow. Yeah. I mean,
just have to take your wins where you can get them this year.
Exactly. I feel, it must have been a really tough decision for like all of these people to like all the production studios to be like, right, we're not going to get the revenue that we thought we were going to get, but we got to do something, otherwise we are going to tank. So let's just straight to at home on DVD on demand. So yeah, good on them. Although these two movies, perhaps they shouldn't have.
They could have waited. I mean, some movies are holding out. We know that Chris Nolan's movie like keeps getting pushed back. Like, I care. And the new James Bond as well. They're like, no, guys, you have to see it in the cinema. So that's being held back. And some movies are kind of made for Netflix.
It's true. And I feel like today's movies were definitely movies made for Netflix. I mean, I know you do not like Christopher Nolan movies, and I will completely agree with you on this one. Tenet coming out, I am not interested at all.
Don't care. Not even a little bit. I
think he's gone a step too far. I think he's, like weird time travel vibes. Like, nah.
I stand to be corrected, though. It's possible I'll watch Tenet and it'll change my life.
Yeah. I'm gonna go on the weighted averages of probability and say it's not. But we can always dream. We can always dream.
We can always dream.
So, speaking of dreaming, what movies are we doing this week, Simone?
So this week's theme is 2020 action movies that we might have missed. We have hotly anticipated Bloodshot for quite some time. Because the moment we saw the trailer, we were like, cool, we'll be reviewing this soon. And here we are. And then we are also doing Underwater with Kristen Stewart, which I actually liked.
I will speak about my thoughts and things, but yeah, okay. But I love watching Vin Diesel before we even get into everything and go through it. Like, can we just speak about the treasure that is Vin Diesel and the fact that at one point in history, he had a YouTube channel that was devoted to him singing jazz music with a fedora on and everything?
Vin Diesel really, to me, especially like as he's aged and stuff, he's like your creepy uncle that peaked in college and has been riding that high ever since and never stopped thinking he was cool. And like hits on all the younger cousins. That's Vin Diesel for me.
Definitely. You know for a fact he goes around and asks people to ask him how much he benches.
Oh my God. And the answer is less than you'd think.
So what are you drinking today? Let's sort out an order of play.
So in spite of the lifted alcohol ban, I haven't gone to the bottle store yet. Because I don't want to catch COVID from all the crowds. So it's like 4 p.m. on a weekday as of recording. So I'm having a peppermint tea.
Oh, lovely. Very nice.
One of my favorite kinds.
Oh, that's so nice. So, well, I want to go back to that, but before I do, I just want to like make everyone who listens to this podcast very aware that we are recording on a Wednesday. Now, usually, if we don't record on the weekend, it's usually like a Monday, so we have like Monday chaotic energy. We've never recorded on a Wednesday, as far as I'm aware. So this is uncharted territory. We do not know what's going to happen as we go along. This should be interesting.
Will either be very tired or extra chaotic. I can't
Who
tell.
knows? It's a Russian roulette, and I'm very excited to pull that trigger with you. So tell me, top 3 favorite teas is what I wanted to go back to.
Ooh, in order, I don't know the order, but I would definitely say peppermint, love rooibos tea, obviously.
Doi.
Mother's milk to South Africans. And then, a good Ceylon.
Oh.
Yeah, lovely Ceylon. Get some cinnamon sugar in there if you're feeling fancy.
Ooh,
Yeah.
very cool. Very nice.
Yeah, what about you?
Okay, so I'm gonna go for rooibos is an absolute favorite. A little bit of honey in there. Ooh, yeah, that's what you're talking about. Then you know what? Keep it simple. Lovely Earl Grey. I'm British at heart, but if it's raining, I've got a nice comfy sweater on. Get your Earl Grey on. And then last,
this is going to be blasphemous, but I love a very milky Earl Grey. Love it. Fuck me up with that milk. I want like essentially an Earl Grey latte.
You make me sick. You've just killed our whole English fan base. Like they've just switched off and they've just unsubscribed. You've killed us. English, like Americans are just like, don't you just boil water and pour milk in it? Like, are there different types of tea? And then
Americans are not invited to this discussion.
And then my third favorite would have to be like a nice fruit tea, like apple and rosemary or something like that is very, very on point. Especially like on a nice summer day.
Yeah, the Turkish apple tea, or like I associate it with Turkey. I know it's not just there, but like that Turkish, like that strong apple flavor.
Ooh, yeah.
That
is
good.
A winner. Yeah. So back to what?
So this is great for an action movie episode.
Really, yeah, setting ourselves up for a big fall there with your nice teas.
Really on brand.
Well, I mean, in complete contrast to that, seeing as it is an action film, I'm just doing Jaeger bombs, just like tons of like 8 Jaeger bombs in a row. No, obviously not. I'm not 14. I am drinking a nice Pilsner beer. I'm not a huge fan of Pilsners, but it's pretty nice. It's a Perlenbacher. It's the company that makes it. Premium Pils. Yeah, it's all right. Nothing too special.
I like a nice Pilsner. That's the thing. It's a everyman beer.
Yeah, it's there's nothing special about it, but it will do the job.
It does the job. Yeah,
exactly. So I guess I get to go first, which is good because then we can spend a large majority of the time
just breaking down Bloodshot.
All right, so let me tell you about Underwater.
Please.
Okay. Nora Price, played by Kristen Stewart, is a mechanical engineer working on the underwater drilling station known as Roebuck. This is the first of its kind, digging directly into the Mariana Trench, some 11 kilometers beneath the surface of the ocean. Just for context, this is super impressive because the pressure down there is 15,750 psi, which is about 1,000 times more pressure than you feel on the surface of the Earth. I googled all of this because I wanted to make sure like we were on point with our knowledge.
Yeah.
So Nora's down there, just mind your own business, when boom, massive implosion on her sector caused by what she thinks is an earthquake. She quickly dashes to try and wake everyone up, but the pressure is collapsing the sector quicker and quicker. One of her teammates, Rodrigo Nagenda, played by Mamadou Ati, hears her cries, and together they race to the safe point. Unfortunately, none of the other people in the sector are going to make it in time, so Nora has to make the tough decision to close off the bulkhead and leave her teammates for dead. The two then make their way up to the central base. On their way, they discover the still alive body of Paul Abel, played by T.J. Miller. He's this wisecracking comedic aspect. He is the wisecracking comedic aspect of the film. Together, they make it to the central base where they meet up with Captain Lucien, played by Vincent Cassel, Liam Smith, played by John Gallagher Jr., and Emily Havisham, played by Jessica Henwick. Together, they all realize that they're pretty fucked. The earthquake caused major structural damage to a huge amount of the drilling station, and the escape pods at the base have all been damaged and are unusable. To make matters worse, the energy core was damaged and is going to explode pretty soon. Captain Lucian then comes up with a plan. They're going to don underwater pressure suits, which will allow them to walk outside of the base on the ocean floor. From there, they will walk directly to the Roebuck drilling base, where they will find some escape pods, which have not been damaged, and then they will get the hell out of there. The issue with this plan is that there's about a mile between the crew, where the crew are now, and the drilling base. The suits have never been used for such a long distance, and the pressure and lack of oxygen may mean that they will die an excruciating death. Unfortunately, they have no other options, so they decide to go for it. Shenanigans ensue. Many people die along the way, but the super weird and creepy thing is that they find a new species of underwater life while out on their walk. Unfortunately, this life is unbelievably hostile and attacks and starts killing them almost immediately. They fight, run, and die for about an hour and a half. Now, here come the spoilers, and since this movie only came out this year, if you don't want to know what happens in the end, then skip for about a minute from now. For those of you who are still listening, there are only three. The only three that make it to the drilling base are Nora, Smith, and Emily. But just outside the door, Nora sees the mother of this unknown hostile species. It pretty much looks like Cthulhu, and is not a fan of the three humans. So they rush in, and Nora finds that only two of the pods are working. She sacrifices herself to save her friends. In the end, she blows up the station in order to allow her friends to escape and kill the giant Cthulhu monster and this entire species. The end.
The end. Chad, what's your cliffhanger?
So it has to be this one, and it is the bit where Nora tells Emily about how she wants to see her dead husband again, and like how much she misses him and all that kind of stuff. And the reason I've chosen this one is purely on the basis that it is the only bit of exposition we get, and it is the only bit of character arc we get, and the rest is just nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, I agree. I think it really, because this is essentially a survival movie.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So what makes those movies interesting is like caring about all of the characters and maybe even a little bit of a character arc for everyone. But it pretty much seems like Kristen Stewart's character wants to die at the beginning and then gets what she wants at the end.
Exactly.
You know?
It really baffles me because, okay, cool. So they started the movie with like the big explosion and everything's going crazy. And that's a risky maneuver, just purely on the basis that you don't get that character progression. You don't get to sort of bond with the characters before the movie starts. Sometimes it can work, but this is a pure example and a really good example of how it doesn't work, because there isn't a lot of time for the characters to speak to each other and develop that kind of relationship and get you as the viewer involved and sort of attached to the characters. The only character who I would say I felt kind of involved was the smart, cracking, wise guy, TJ Miller, Paul Abel, because he had his little squirrel thing that was super cute, and he's the only one I kind of cared about.
Well, I also cared about, Emily, we get a lot of background from her, and I think she's very vulnerable from the offset, where she's like, I don't know what's happening, I feel like I'm gonna die, kind of thing. So like, you feel a very like maternal or paternal instinct towards her from the beginning, and you're like glad when she escapes. The other dude that she escapes with, you're kind of like, cool, he's a nice guy. That's great.
Yeah, exactly. So and that's the problem, and it makes it seem like Kristen Stewart is obviously the protagonist of this film, but we really don't know any of her motivations or anything like that. That doesn't like dispute the fact that she's a cool badass throughout this fucking film, and that's awesome. But ooh.
It just feels like there are whole chunks of things missing that would have made it feel much more whole. All of that being said, though, I really was entertained by this movie.
So,
I thought that the action sequences were amazing. Like from the very beginning, when stuff starts like collapsing in on her, so you're just like from the outset, like watching her try to survive. Like that was a fucking intense scene. And, you know, later on when they've got their pressure suits on and they're opening the doors and the one dude's pressure suit just isn't up to
Yeah.
scratch and he like explodes, like that I think was a great way to just set the mood and just
Mm-hmm.
like tell you no one's safe, something could go wrong at any minute. I thought the creature design was really cool for all the little things
Mm-hmm.
they saw underwater. That one dude getting sucked out of his suit by the
That was
things was
gross.
awesome. So like, you know, in terms of like characters and like storytelling,
Mm,
it's not a great movie, but in terms of like entertainment and horror,
mm,
I
mm.
really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah, look, there are like you said, there are those really special moments, and you did feel like super tense the whole time, like watching it.
Yeah.
Like it
Yeah.
was real intense. I mean, I don't know about you, but you know, like I do love deep water exploring and shit like that, but like the Mariana Trench is very deep, and that shit
I would
scares
never.
me. Like
I would never.
there are things down there, as this movie shows, there are things down there that we do not know about, and we shouldn't know
Mhm.
about. We don't need
Mm-mm.
to.
You know, I have a scuba diving license that lets me go down to 18 meters,
Hmm.
and that's even further than I necessarily need to go.
Yeah, that's a pretty cool distance. Anything above it
Yeah.
is ace. Anything below
Yeah.
below that, when everything starts to get a wee bit darker, little, you know, you can feel that
Yeah.
pressure on your body. Oh, not so much. Like it's the fact that like your lungs start to like
Yeah.
fold in just because of the pressure down there, and you're just like, maybe humans
No,
shouldn't do this.
not a fan. Not a fan. The moment that the bends becomes a really real risk, not a fan. I just want
Yeah.
to see the pretty reefs close to the sun. Maybe a little, I did a dive around a wreck
Mhm.
ages ago, and
That's
that's
cool.
really fun because in Cape Town, like seals come to see what you're up to, which is adorable.
That's cool,
I'm
man.
happy with that. I'm happy with just the
Mhm.
surface pretty stuff, not the deep dark scary
Scary stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, yeah, that was my only other sort of issue with this film as well. Is like, I don't know how hostile animals down that deep are. Like, I know like a lot of species
Yeah,
that don't have predators aren't very hostile. Um,
yeah,
you know, like undiscovered species in remote places who don't have any sort of predators, when humans come to them for the first time, they're pretty
yeah.
like chill. Like they don't immediately start attacking. So it felt like I felt a little sort of be like, would this really happen? Would they immediately just start killing humans?
Yeah, I mean, especially like they seem to wait a while. Like the whole station gets set up and
Hmm.
built, and then like this thing starts hatching in the look. They don't think about it that much. My other issue with it is that it's clearly supposed to be some sort of like or close to like a cosmic sort of Lovecraft
Mm,
in
mm-hmm,
type horror where you know it's this big huge creature
mm,
from the depths,
mm-hmm.
um which is really cool, but I think they should have maybe leaned into it more because the whole point of
Yeah,
cosmic horror is to like make you feel small in the universe and like nothing you do matters. And
exactly.
so I think instead of it ending with her like blowing the whole ship up, which to be honest, that creature couldn't go too much further above the surface because the lack of pressure would kill it. That's what happens to a
Exactly.
lot of deep sea fish.
Yeah.
Um, I think she should have just let herself get eaten up by it, you know, like as
Yeah.
her friends escape to distract it or whatever, you know. Um,
Yeah.
just I think that would have played into the genre that they were going for a little better, rather than like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, she does matter because she explodes the ship on the thing.
You're 100% right. Like it was a weird ending for it, and I guess it was sort of
Yeah,
like just like man does great things or something like that. I don't really
yeah,
get the point of like I get her point of like self-sacrifice.
yeah.
Um
Of course.
but yeah, like there is so much more you can do with the genre, and
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
audiences I feel are mature enough to
Yeah.
be okay with their protagonists dying.
Exactly. And I
Um,
think they also tried to introduce this weird moral judgment into it, right? Because it was like, oh,
uh-huh.
we drilled too deep and now the
Yeah.
earth is fighting back. And the whole point of the genre isn't to introduce like right and wrong or
Mhm.
like justice. It's just to show that there are things so much bigger than us that we can't understand.
Exactly.
And in the face of those things are insignificant. So I wish maybe they'd zeroed in on the genre a little bit. I think that would have made it more effective.
No, I completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. I did like the tech though, like you sort of mentioned earlier, like the oxygen tanks were really cool. It was awesome when they like pulled them out and they're all like gross, because obviously down there the oxygen quality is going to be shocking. So like it looked like really gross tea. That was like a really nice, like it's those little details like that that really made this movie cool. Those the pressure suits were awesome. Like little details like that I really enjoyed. Yeah,
I think I would definitely recommend that people check the movie out. I think it's definitely worth a watch. I think all the stuff we're talking about now is really just what could have taken this movie to like from like an entertaining movie to like a really, really good movie.
Yeah, completely. Like it's on its base, it's a pretty entertaining movie. It's nothing that's gonna like, I don't know, this spoils our segment later, but like it's something that you just watch like to take the time away, you know, just like on a Saturday, nothing else to watch, like night's coming on, you want to get a little bit scared, you want to feel a little bit tense, perfect movie for that. But so I mean, I know we have no problems with Kirsten Stewart. We love her as an actress. But how do we feel about her performance in this?
I think she did well. I mean, the script really didn't give her that much to work with. Like she was just supposed to be like the description was grieving mechanical engineer. And I think she did that.
Yeah, she was pretty ace with that. Yeah. Like
I mean, I'm always her fan. I really liked her. TJ Miller played himself.
Exactly. Yeah. So exactly, like none of the characters were like particularly unbelievable or unbelievable, but they were just fine. I really like that little bit in the beginning, and I think it kind of epitomizes where this movie could have gone, where Kirsten Stewart's character is playing with the little spider in the bathtub, and she's like, "What are you doing down here?" And that's just like, that was a really great moment, and I was like, "Ooh, this movie is gonna get a little bit deep." And then it did not.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like it was supposed to be foreshadowing, right? Like this thing down in the depths where it doesn't belong, and then it gets rescued, but then it gets killed anyway, like moments later. I guess it also was nice to establish the character a bit, just like she cares about this little spider in the sink.
Yeah, very cool. The ending alludes that the drilling company is going to set up a second drill. Do you think that was a final sort of like fuck you man doesn't learn from its ignorance thing, or B, are they setting up for a sequel?
I would think after the like critical like reviews that the movie got, I don't know how much money they'd put towards a sequel, especially because it seemed relatively high budget in terms of like the CGI and the sets and everything. And underwater filming, as we know, is just like massively expensive.
So expensive and so inconvenient. Like if you take on an underwater project, like good on you, but you're a fool.
No, I think it was more supposed to be like, you know, the folly of man and the futility of her actions. And also, you know, because she destroyed the creature, you're kind of like, well, I guess they should try again now. She's really cleared that up for them. So
there's not going to be any other problems. Like you've kind of sorted everything out. There
you go.
Right. So is there a scene that could have saved it for you?
I'm gonna go with I wish that they hadn't like killed the monster thing at the end. I wish they'd just leaned into like, this is a force of nature that is inevitable. She gets swallowed up by it. Her friends can escape still. That's fine. Just I think it would have been a better ending, and like I said, it would have made the fact that they're drilling again a little bit more horrifying.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. And what about you?
I definitely think I just would have loved a few more scenes where Nora explains her motives and everything. Just like, even if it's like a situation of, you know, a little bit of a backstory, that's all I would want. Just like, if it was, and I know this is sort of like a very big no-no now because it's quite cliche, but even just a couple flashbacks, just of when her husband was alive, just really lazy screenwriting, and just chuck in a couple flashbacks and we're gold.
Yeah. To me, this read, or like the script read a little bit like a short story where like you're cutting off all the meat just to like get through the main bit. But it's not a short story, it's a movie, so you can add in some extra stuff.
The Reader's Digest condensed version of the story, which actually turned out to be the whole movie.
Exactly.
So we've alluded to it already, but would you watch it again?
Totally. Actually, as I was watching it, I was saying to Rudy, like, I'm bummed I didn't wait to watch it with him because I thought he'd really enjoy it. Like I said, like, you're really tense the whole way through. The special effects and practical effects are incredible. The actors all do the best they can with the script. Like, it's really like a really entertaining movie. I think it actually should have scored higher than what it got.
Right. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah. And you?
I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm gonna say no. I'm only gonna say no on the basis of the fact that I recently watched 2019's Life, which is a film featuring Jake Gyllenhaal and Ryan Reynolds. And and basically they're on the International Space Station. They get like a capsule of dust basically that's come back from Mars, and it's got like microscopic life in it, and basically that microscopic life just fucks shit up. So it's kind of the same story but just told from upstairs instead of downstairs. And it just does a really much better job at it. And so if I was like watching, if someone said let's watch an unknown creature killing horror movie, I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna choose Life over Underwater, to be honest.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I would have to give this one a skip. And if anyone was like, oh, we should watch Underwater, I'll be like, actually let's just watch Life instead. If I'm gonna do like a creature invasion cosmic horror movie, it's always gonna be Annihilation every day forever. Yeah, we really disagree on that movie. I hated it.
I love Annihilation. It just keeps growing on me, like more and more. I just keep loving it.
I don't, and like you and me, man, like we do this movie podcast, but we fundamentally, apart from horror, we do not have the same taste in movies. Barring horror movies and 30 Rock, we have nothing in common when it comes to film.
That's why we're such great partners. We complement each other.
There you go. The yin and the yang. Doing the thing.
So well done, Chad.
Thank you. I'm glad we watched this. I'm glad we explored the depths of 2020, and now we can go all the way to the top.
Oh, Bloodshot. Let's do it.
I'm just going to say, hands down, best movie of 2020.
How dare you? Okay, Bloodshot. Let's go. Oh my god, he doesn't even have a real name. He's just credited as Bloodshot.
Amazing. Oh, that's so good.
Or at least his real name isn't like in the IMDb credits.
Yeah. That is so good.
He must have an actual name. Like, surely.
First name's Blood, surname's Shot.
Like,
that is disgusting.
I think it's Ray Garrison. I think it's Ray. Okay, I'm gonna use that because this is so stupid. Okay. The movie starts like movies that we've seen 100 times before. Ray Garrison is a Marine who just pulled off a especially tough mission in darkest Africa, and returns to Italy to be with his beautiful wife, Gina Garrison, played by Tallulah Riley. Unfortunately, things take a dark turn when psycho killer madman Martin Axe kidnaps him to ask where he got the information about the last mission. Naturally, because Ray Garrison is just a Marine, he's like, I don't know where we got the information from. They just pointed me at the thing, and I don't know. So, naturally, Martin X, in cold blood, kills Gina, and then kills Ray. And that you might think is the end of it, until Ray wakes up in a secret scientific facility run by Dr. Emil Harding, played by Guy Pearce, and his assistant KT, played by Eliza Gonzalez. Ray is told that he is part of an experiment used to help soldiers who have been injured in battle. Some soldiers have received limbs, others have received new eyes and the neurocircuitry around that. KT has received new breathing apparatus. And Ray Garrison, now Bloodshot, is basically full of nanites that help him live. It's never explained. They couldn't get it to work in mice, but they got it to work in him. While he's coming to grips with his new life, he starts having flashbacks of his old one, and he realizes that he must kill Martin Axe to avenge his dead wife. So there's this bloody showdown. He kills Martin Axe, goes back, and that's when we find that this is all a horrible setup to continuously point Bloodshot at different people that Dr. Emil Harding wants dead. As they reset, they now target Nick Barris, played by Johannes Harker Johannesson.
Ooh, great name.
Yeah. Who is also an enemy of Dr. Emil Harding. Unfortunately for them, Nick Barris has hired Wilfred Wilkins, a programmer who actually made a lot of the original programming that was used to program Bloodshot's nanites, among other things. Things start unraveling, especially as KT no longer wants to be in on this charade, and Jimmy Dalton, one of the super soldiers, played by Sam Hoyen, is really antagonistic towards Bloodshot. Things start to break down. Bloodshot starts realizing that things are not as they seem. With the help of Wilfred Wiggins, he begins to take control of his own nanites. He then goes after Dr. Emil Harding. Shenanigans ensue. He kills Dr. Emil Harding, and he and KT travel into the sunset along with Wilfred. The end?
I mean, what is your cliffhanger, please?
Oh my god.
Do you remember anything that happened in this movie?
I watched it almost a week ago, so it is fuzzy. My cliffhanger is going to be this one, and it is the little like heart to heart that he's scripted heart to heart that he has with KT. And it's just they're like, they make it sound like the whole like scenario setup is really critical to like, you know, jolting his memory in the correct way. And I get it. Like, that's comic book science, you know? Like, not everything's gonna all come together. But the wild sexism where, like, KT, she's a Marine too. Like, she used to be a soldier. She's just working there. Like, now she has to be the scientist's hot assistant, and she has to, like, do aquarobics in front of Vin Diesel and be like, oh, hey, like, welcome to the team. And none of the other dudes have to do that. They just have to, like, work out and say, hey, stop. And that's it. I hate it so much.
It's because, you know, she's a female, and therefore the only thing that she has of use is her body and her sexuality. Like,
of course,
that's all she's useful for. And the guys are just, I don't like you, but I'd respect you, kind of bullshitters. You know, typical Vin Diesel kind of movie, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Why do we continue to give him money? I don't understand.
why is his love interest a woman literally like 30 years younger than him?
This movie is just, I mean, where to begin, really, more than anything.
I actually know exactly where to begin because it made me like, it's wildly hilarious. So
Yes,
the
go.
first like big fight scene, which is very cinematic, is when he's going after Martin X and he crashes that flower truck like in the tunnel. So there's like white dust everywhere.
Yes.
Like the lighting's cool, like I'll give them that. Here's the problem though. Flour is highly combustible.
Oh, really?
Highly combustible. If you have like a bunch of flour in there and you use a lighter, it goes like
Wow, I didn't know that. And they've set
so the
flares up
moment that
everywhere.
the moment they lit a flare, like Rudy and I were both like, and then nothing happens. And we were like, oh, no one told the director.
Oh, man.
Like that whole tunnel should have exploded.
That is crazy funny.
Yeah.
Oh, that is brilliant, because obviously, like, the only reason that it was a flower truck was for the cinematics of it. Like, there's, like,
Yeah,
I
of
saw
course.
that happening, and I was like, oh my god, how cringe. Like, I get your point, I get why you're doing this, but I know what you're doing, and you know I know what you're doing, and that's what makes this gaudy. But I did not know that, because that is bloody hilarious.
It's really, really funny.
Oh
I mean,
my
and they could have
word.
used any like powdery substance, right? Like they could have used
It could have been
powdered
cocaine.
sugar or cocaine.
Cocaine
So
would have
everyone's
made
like
more sense.
fucking pumped.
Yeah, no one actually dies in that scene because their hearts are just pumping so fast.
But anyway, that's just like, I know like these movies aren't scientific at all, but I just found that one really funny.
That is hilarious. I did not know that. So I wonder what substance they used instead of flour, because they wouldn't have been able to use
Surely.
flour. So like, was it just like concrete
I
dust?
took the trivia to see if anything was done.
Yeah.
Apparently not.
Oh wow. So weird. That's crazy. I mean,
Mhm.
look, this movie is empirically terrible, and anytime that Vin Diesel speaks, I want to shoot myself in the face. But you know what? Like, the visuals and the CGI were fantastic. Like the nanobots, every time he got like his face exploded and the nanobots
that was an
doing their
amazing
thing.
shot.
Like, good job there.
I actually didn't like hate this movie as much as I thought I would.
Oh really? Okay.
Like, I mean, I still don't think it's a great movie, but I think it was kind of cool. Like, I think they did a good job of burying the lead, sort of leading up to the big twist that, you know, he's actually being controlled. Like, I thought that was pretty well done, actually. Like, when it's revealed, you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
And like you said, the visual effects are pretty solid. The side characters, I love like kind of the battle of the nerds, like the programming guy on their side who used open source code from the other guy was so perfect. Like that, like those little elements made it really, really fun and sort of took it away from like clearly what Vin Diesel was going for, which is like this hard, serious action movie because Vin Diesel can't do comedy.
Yeah, it was nice. I think everything surrounding Vin Diesel was great in this film. It was just Vin Diesel himself that was problematic. I mean, I love the evil scientist. He's a great pardon me. He's a great evil scientist. He was great in, what was it, Iron Man 3 as the bad guy?
Yeah. And he's the main character in Memento.
Oh yeah, of course he is. I forget about Memento all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
The irony.
The irony. So yeah, I mean, what else is there to say, really? I mean, it's
fine. Oh, a lot of the scenes are shot in Cape Town. They try to pass off Lower Woodstock as London.
Oh, lovely. Terrible decision. But yeah, okay, fine. Clearly couldn't get the budget for London.
Actually, like, you can recognize, I don't know if you recognize like the South African police vehicles and stuff. And
I was gonna say, actually, because I saw the police vehicles, and I was like, those don't look very British to me. And I was really confused. that makes a lot more sense now. Why I recognize them, but they just weren't, sitting with me well. So that's great to know.
I suspect also that the police in the vehicle were actual South Africans, if not South African cops,
because they ran away.
They looked like it. And also they were all dubbed over. Like the one truck driver as well kind of was dubbed over.
Oh God. Okay. Yeah.
With "Oi, mate, what's your problem?"
The English accents in these, even from Vincent, whatever his V surname was, like the guy from New Girl, like his English accent was just appalling and very
I think he did his
upsetting.
best. It was better than Don Cheadle's accent from Ocean's 11, which is a low bar.
Yeah, that's you make a good point. You make an excellent.
But
yeah.
He worked hard. You could tell.
Yeah, he was trying, and towards the end of the movie, it kind of got a little bit better. Obviously, they filmed it sequentially, and it just was a disaster to do so.
There was no reason he needed to be British, but
no, why was he British? Like, British doesn't equal like smarter. Clearly, from myself, as you can tell. But like it was a waste. Or get a British actor. There are plenty black British actors. I don't understand.
They needed that new girl celebrity pull.
Vin Diesel doesn't cut it anymore.
He does not.
I was really confused before we go, and obviously your science can help us out here. I was really confused by Katie's breathing apparatus. Because essentially it was like a hole in her chest, right? And she's got no lungs. I specifically remember them saying in the film that she has no lungs. So what?
I can't answer that question for you. I also was like, okay, but then how because they're like, oh, it can filter anything. I was like, okay, but then how can she breathe underwater?
Yeah, exactly. That's not really explained very well.
The nanites also.
Yeah, how does that make him stronger? I get that it wouldn't be able to make him indestructible. Yeah.
But it's comic book science. You can't examine it too closely. You just have to be like, yes, nanites.
Yes, makes sense. Little tiny robots that you can see and wouldn't be painful at all. Yep, that's fine. They can carry oxygen because they're now your blood, apparently. So, yes. Anyway, scene that could have saved it?
God. Can I change all the casting?
Yes. I want to hear your Bloodshot. I want to hear your Bloodshot, and I want to hear your... I don't actually care about anyone else. Just who would you rather have casted for Bloodshot?
Oh, man. I mean... I feel like a younger dude, definitely, right? Like someone not in his mid-50s. And that's not to be like ageist about it or anything. It's just like the character is clearly written to be someone who's maybe like in his early 30s.
Yeah. Like a
just
prime
based on
guy,
where he is like in his career and in his relationship and stuff.
Yeah.
Not fucking Vin Diesel. Who clearly used a couple steroids to get to that body index that he had in the movie. He didn't even take his shirt off because and again, this isn't to body shame. I'm just like Vin Diesel is just held to a very different standard from other action movie stars, and there's no reason for it. He's not even a good actor.
I feel like he's the younger brother of like a really big action star that his mother was like he went out and he was like, hey mom, I'm going to Hollywood to be an action star, and the mom was like, okay, take your brother. And there's little Vin Diesel being like, hey, like, okay, and he has to go along now, and like for some reason, the older brother's just like, please just let him play in your movie. I mean, he's really annoying, I know, and he's just no good, but just my mom will be really upset if you don't let him play.
So who, I guess not a lot of acting range was required. Maybe our man from the King Arthur movie, Charlie Hunnam, might have been good.
That's a pretty good shout. That's nice. Yeah, I like that. You know
Maybe
what?
someone with
I'm going to be a bit controversial here. Terry Crews.
No, but the age thing comes back in.
Yeah.
Cruz is getting on in years.
Is he? How old is he? I mean, this is always the issue.
I mean,
with...
he's definitely not much younger than Vin Diesel. He's
Yeah,
probably older.
maybe potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also trying to think of like a black actor who I feel would fill the role nicely.
Kevin Hart. You know what? I would actually watch the shit out of that. If Kevin Hart was Bloodshot, I would watch the shit out of that movie.
It would be so funny.
That is a much better movie, actually.
Mm.
Yeah, I can't really think of anyone. That's the
I'm
frustrating
not
thing about
well-versed
this.
in young action movie stars.
No. Like, I don't like. We're not action movie people, and you know, I feel like Vin Diesel was, I guess, the right one for this because this movie requires the lowest common denominator, and that is always going to be Vin Diesel.
No, guys, don't. Your movie can do better than Vin Diesel.
All movies can do better than Vin Diesel.
I mean, look, it's a very enjoyable movie. It's definitely like a Friday action night movie. I did watch it on a Friday night. I think we had burgers for dinner.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Like,
okay.
Perfect. Exactly what you need.
This is that is the movie for it. Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, for me, just like a little bit more character development for Vin Diesel. Like, I feel like it would be impossible for him to have any character development as a human being. But I just wanted to see, like, I wanted to believe in his backstory a bit more than just like, oh, my wife and shit and whatever, avenging my super hot wife who's like 30 years younger than me and stuff like that. Yeah, man. I mean, and in terms of like, would I watch this again? No, apart from like if I'm like babysitting my dad and I'm just like, okay, let's just check on this and you can fall asleep watching it because, you know, it's not going to be that bad and I'm going to just sit here on Tinder and Instagram and just flick through that for half an hour and a half.
Okay.
Yeah. But you would watch it on like a Friday burger night or no?
No, I've watched it once. It's done.
Yeah. And I would say I recommend that to all of our listeners. Like, go watch Underwater because it won't blow your mind, but it is a fun movie to watch. Yeah. But you know what? Give Bloodshot a skip, man. You haven't missed anything from skipping it in 2020.
Yeah. It's a dime a dozen.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you for that, Simone. Thank you for getting us through that with your nanites and your breathing underwater and your underwater Tai Chi nonsense. How are you? How has your week been? And what is your optimistic thing?
I'm good. My parents had to come down to sort stuff out. So they've been in town and I got to see them, which was really, really nice. Got to hang out with them a little bit.
That's so nice.
Yeah, that was really, really lovely. I haven't seen them since the beginning of the year. So, you know, and it also, with taverns opening or like bars being allowed to open again and stuff, it just feels like everything is kind of going back to normal a little bit. Obviously, it'll be a long time before things go all the way back to normal.
Yeah.
But it's nice, especially it's supposed to start getting warmer here next month.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm feeling a little optimistic.
Good, and I think that's the whole idea for the podcast. So really apropos.
Thanks.
So would
what
you
about
say
you?
So we got cats this week. We got new kittens, which has been lovely. They're little terrors, but that's all kittens are. But I would say that my optimistic thing for this week is that I have reached the Shangri-La of social media. I have cultivated and curated my social media to be exactly what I want it to be from the different
Mhm.
social media apps. I mean, it was about a
Right.
year ago that you said to me during this podcast actually, and it kind of changed my whole sort of outlook on social media. Was you said you get to cultivate your experience on social media, and it kind
Yeah.
of just like when you said that to me, it blew my mind. And I've spent the year just cultivating everything from my social medias, and now it's perfect. So
Yeah.
like my Facebook is for like cooking videos and cool like life hacks for your house and stuff. My
Yeah.
Instagram is just like my friends and family who I really love and really cool dank meme pages. My
Yeah.
Twitter I never go on because fuck Twitter. My LinkedIn is super businessy with like law people, and then my
Yeah.
TikTok, which is like my favorite thing of all time right now, is just filled with chaotic bisexual energy, and it is fucking the best. So there is not a point where I'm on social media and I'm not just like loving everything that goes through my feed.
Oh, I'm
Fantastic.
glad.
Yeah.
Good
So
on you.
so thank you for putting the idea in incepting the idea into my head, and you know, taking me through down this road to making the perfect social media accounts.
What are friends for if not incepting helpful ideas into your head?
Exactly. So do you have any ideas for next week? Because I do.
Sure. Well, we also had someone on Twitter comment. Hang on, let me get the tweet up.
Nice.
Uh, yeah, so Twitter user Panther77 from Australia said that he heard the news that the ban on alcohol is over. So the next movie podcast should have the theme happy hour.
Oh, I like that. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So what are we thinking? Like bar movies? I don't.
Yeah. Movies
Okay.
about bars, movies about drinking.
All right. Let's have a look.
God. We are not doing Old School or Animal House, just off the bat.
Okay. Cool.
Sorry,
Just putting it straight
I
out
just
there.
want to check. My work is texting me.
Yeah. That's fine. I'm gonna have a look.
Uh,
Oh, we could do Coyote Ugly.
Oh, is surely it didn't get under 50% though?
Homie, 23%.
Dude, I swear to God, we've done Coyote Ugly before.
We haven't. I've never seen Coyote Ugly in my life.
No way. We've never done Coyote Ugly?
We've never done Coyote Ugly.
Okay, so we can definitely do Coyote Ugly. I
Yeah.
watched it like a million times at a very inappropriate age, so I'll watch it again.
I'm excited because it's a quintessential part of our childhood, but I just never got around to watching it.
Yeah. Check. Sorry, I'm letting the team down here. It's just work.
No, that's fine. I'm just scrolling.
So that's Jenna Barley. Okay. Looks okay. Nothing's burning down, I don't think.
Okay, good. That's the important thing.
I can't believe that Coyote Ugly did so badly.
This is really rocks your world. Ooh, we could do another Tom Cruise. We could do Cocktail, which got 7%.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've been wanting to check out Cocktail for a while. I guess that's
Same
referenced
here.
a lot.
Cocktail.
Okay, yeah, let's do Cocktail and Coyote Ugly. That should be fun.
I am happy to do Cocktail because
I'll make sure I've got booze for it.
Good. We'll do something
Okay.
fancy. Okay, so should we just intro it again, just so you got like the whole?
Just leave it back in. Yeah.
So Simone, what do you want to do next week?
Well, we had actually a really nice suggestion from one of our followers on Twitter, Panther77, who very kindly noticed that the alcohol ban was lifted here. And so he suggested that we do a happy hour episode, which is a new one.
Mm-hmm.
So to that end, we will be doing Coyote Ugly, which I did not know did badly.
You would think,
and
because
the Tom Cruise classic. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, you would think it would have done like really well because it was a formation. It was a form of it was a foundational movie of our childhood. So it's shocking that it only got 23%.
I mean, it formed so many of my odd concepts about bars. I was wildly disappointed when I went to one. I haven't danced on a bar once.
What a crazy thing is this? And has anyone shouted to you? Has anyone shouted no H2O to you?
And we will also be doing Cocktail with Tom Cruise. Young Tom Cruise.
Very young Tom Cruise. Only got 7%, which I'm bewildered by. You know, so many people talk about this movie so often, and yet so bad, apparently. So bad.
We'll see.
We'll see. But yeah, it is very exciting, and it's great that you can drink again. I'm so glad that, you know, your bootlegging days are over. Your run-ins with the coppers are done. And you can return to normal society. And guys, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. You guys are like the best listeners in the world, and your interactions have been so lovely. You know, during this period where everything is so uncertain and everything is on fire, it's so nice to have just a community of people who are always there for us and who we're always there for, and just help this optimistic message grow like a fungus. And guys, if you want to get in touch with us, as our Twitter person did, to suggest some movies that we could do, or just talk to us about anything whatsoever, you are more than welcome to do so. We relish in those moments. And where can they do that, Simone?
They can talk to us on Facebook or Instagram at Fresh Tomatoes Podcast, on Twitter at Fresh Tomatoes MP. They can email us at freshtomatoespodcast@gmail.com. They can check out our website, freshtomatoespodcast.com. It's linked down below, you guys.
Links down below. And guys, thank you again so much for listening. And if you've got the time, no pressure. We would never pressure you into anything. We're not into peer pressure. But if you do have the time, go onto your podcasting app, go into Apple Podcasts, rate the app, leave a comment. It really does help us get out there. You know how things are with social media and algorithms, and the merit very much applies to podcasts too. But even if you don't, as we say at the end of every week, we love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
We love you and there's nothing you can do about it.
Goodbye.
Bye.